Welcome to Music Causation Episode 1. We've been talking about this now for several weeks. I am Ron. I am joined by Steve Maciel,
Hello.
my co-host. We're excited about this. We've been talking about this for a while now, and we've had some technical things going on, and we had to iron out some things, but we are here finally. You're going to enjoy this. We've got an incredible guest today. But before I do that, this is, of course, Music Causation. Steve, you want to tell everybody a little about why we're doing this?
Yeah, the name is very telling. And Ron, thanks for having us here. And this is huge. This has kind of been one of the missing components to this campaign that's been going on for 30 plus years now. And it's all about the cause. We're here to help the cause of ending hunger, creating food secure communities. And when we were looking for the name for the show, I hit upon causation. And I love the name because causation is cause and effect. And it's all about us taking action. And that creates the cause and effect and helps us to create that action.
Yeah, it didn't take much when you first approached me. We came together because I was posting for some bands to do on jam sessions.
Yeah,
and people from all over the place were messaging, and then we started talking, and it really didn't take much convincing when you brought the idea in, and I'm like, well, I'm on board for helping people, so I wanted to jump right in right away. And we got a platform here at Rhode Island Broadcasting for just this thing. And I do a lot for artists. I do a lot for different aspects, for theater and all that stuff. And why not use this to end hunger? I mean, really, why not try to do something for it?
This is America, and hunger is eminently solvable. And
absolutely,
this is part of that solution.
Absolutely. So we're going to be bringing music to the foreground of all of this, and so you, the fans, a lot of it is going to be in your hands because you can actually help the cause. And the musicians that we're going to be bringing front and center to you, you're not only going to be able to listen to some great music, you're going to be able to listen to their history, what makes them tick. You're also going to be able to help as well. And it's just as simple as going to a website like the one that you see right now, and you can donate directly to the Rhode Island Community Food Bank.
That's exactly right.
It goes there. So when we're doing this show, you're going to be able to, donate bits, donate stars, or whatever it may be. And that money will all go to the cause. So whether it's $1, a penny, or whatever it is, doesn't matter. You send out one bit, it's a penny, and it will make it to the Rhode Island Community Food Bank.
And through that link, Ron, you can donate any amount.
Yep.
And that's part of the concept of the 152 Hunger Network that we've been running for over 30 years. It's all third-party donations, and you decide who to donate to.
Absolutely.
And we suggest the Rhode Island Community Food Bank because they're the main food provider in Rhode Island.
Right.
But if you have your own supplies, your own local church, somebody you've already been donating to, you can choose them. So that's the beauty of the concept. Is it's really all about what you do and all about how you choose to help.
Yes. So
we'll get into a lot more of the details on that.
Oh, absolutely. And if you have any questions, you can just throw it up into the chat. like, we'll talk to you. You could be actually part of this show by throwing the comments into the chat. And as we go on each week, people will join us more and more and more. And hopefully, we can build something fantastic for every community out there. Hopefully, this catches on and it goes globally. And not only do we help people here in Pawtucket, where we're actually broadcasting, but throughout Rhode Island, throughout New England, and throughout the United States, and then throughout the world.
And beyond.
So, we want to help as many people as we can and reach out to as many people as we can as well. But now, I think we should invite our guest in.
Yeah, sure. I'm excited
I'm really
about this.
looking forward to this. Look, singer, songwriter, podcast host. I mean, he does it all.
A media maven, as I call him.
Yeah. So we're going to have Bill Bartholomew join us right now. How are you, Bill?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, and thanks for getting this program started. Congratulations. It's definitely not easy to launch something, and I know that firsthand.
Like I said, when Steve first started talking to me, I was intrigued, and I'm like, I want to help. And I want to do whatever I can do. Now, I'm not, Rockefeller, or anything like that, but it's not only just dollars that helps. It's time. Time helps. So, you might be sitting at home somewhere out there and you're like, well, what can I do? I can barely afford my bills. Well, you might be able to just go out there and, spend a little bit of time and contributing any way possible, just in time, and that's the thing. It's not just a dollar, it's time, and that helps as well. So, Steve, do you have any questions for Bill?
Bill, this is so significant that you're debuting the show with us. I know you're a very socially conscious guy. You're a member of our 1 of 52 Hunger Network, and you've got an audience, and we hope to bring that audience into the cause. And this is something that is achievable. Thank you, Ron, for making this possible. And let's see how much we can make it go viral.
I appreciate that very much, and I agree that when it comes to contributions to any cause, there's a saying that I know because I heard James Carville say it in the documentary about Bill Clinton's 1992 campaign called The War Room, when he was addressing the campaign volunteers, that, look, the number one thing, the greatest sign of love or appreciation that you can offer somebody is time. And when it comes to hunger, it's an issue that is totally solvable, and it would require obviously money and sort of a reassessment of our priorities as a species, right? But also time to get the message out, time to distribute food, time to figure out where the needs are most extreme. And look, here in our state in Rhode Island, there's an enormous amount of people who day in, day out work not only on this cause, but a lot of other significant causes. And giving time to them, whether it's by volunteering or hearing out their message, understanding what they need, where the expertise is saying, hey, the issue's here. We've got a shortage of a certain supply. We have a shortage of people to distribute that supply. Whatever it is, listening to experts is something that everybody can do, and just paying attention to an issue is something that everybody can easily make happen. And no matter how busy you are, there's always opportunities to just dial in and say, hey, wait a second, what's going on in our state? Let's start there. What's going on in my community in terms of the need when it comes to hunger, when it comes to food shortages, when it comes to culturally appropriate foods, when it comes to healthy foods, and not just accepting that a certain segment of the population is going to consume junk food all the time and that it checks the boxes. We should be at a place where at some point in our species future, everyone is able to have healthy food that helps them not only sustain from a basic needs standpoint, but also exceed that.
That's
That
so true,
allows
Bill.
them to get to a place where they feel that they're fueled to achieve something beyond their wildest dreams. And so I hope that this message resonates with people. And it's, you can donate a can of food. If you've got $1 million, there's places where that can go. But number one, you're right. Time is really, time and attention are so critical.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, there's only so much money to go around, to help run those organizations that do help, and they're always in need of help. I mean, just to take the items of, whether it's canned goods or boxed, foods, and just to bring them into the warehouse or facility that they're trying to disperse them. I mean, you need people to be able to do that, and there's a shortage everywhere. And just giving 1 hour, just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to unload the boxes so that way they know what they have. That is big, that is mammoth, and you don't even understand how many people just an hour can help. And that's the thing, that's what we're trying to get across to people. Yes, they need the dollars to get the food items, and they need the dollars to truck stuff to different food banks and stuff, but they need that person to actually bring the food to those food banks.
You're so right. And I borrow a phrase from the Catholic Church, which is time, talent, and treasure. And if you notice, the time is first, the talent is second, and the treasure is third. Because let's face it, cash is king. In the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, for instance, for every dollar they get, they can translate to $7 worth of food out on the street because of their enormous buying power. But you got their whole affiliate network of food pantries, and then you take it out. There's soup kitchens.
Right.
These are all places where you can donate, and these are all places that you can literally bring your time, talent, and treasure. Speaking of talent, you got your guitar there. You prepared to perform something for us, Bill?
I can get my guitar. I'd be happy to, and I echo what you said about time, talent, treasure. That makes perfect sense, and I think it's something that everybody's capable of doing in one way, shape, or form. So yeah, I'll get my guitar.
Absolutely.
1 second.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, this is a treat for people out there. You're going to be able to listen to some music, and we're gonna talk to Bill about his music background and all of that. And while he's doing that, hopefully people out there will decide to either go on the 1of52.net website to maybe possibly join in on what we're trying to accomplish. And also, the Rhode Island Community Food Bank to donate.
Yeah, if you search 1of52 Hunger Network, we're all over Facebook, we're all over the web, you'll come directly to it. You can Google my name, Steve Maciel. Make sure you get the Steve Maciel in Rhode Island, because there's a lot of weirdo Steve Maciels out there on the West Coast. I don't know where they came from, but they're not related to me. And you can participate in this campaign because it's not something that there's any fees or dues to belong to our network. All we look
Right.
for is you to use your unique talents, whatever those talents may be. If you're a musician, great, because we always try to continually link the cause of hunger to music, and I can go in depth into that. If you bake a mean chocolate chip cookie, that's your talent, and you can use it in some way to join us. Like I say, there's no fees. All you need to do is take a minimum of one action in 1 week annually, and that's all spelled out on our website. And it's a very simple yet very powerful campaign to belong to.
Well, I'm hoping that I'm going to be spending the next 52 weeks doing this show.
Well, I'll tell you, all we ask for is a minimum of one action in 1 week annually.
Yeah.
But some of our artists just are so amazing. They go way above and beyond the call
Absolutely.
of duty. I have to give a shout out to my friend Chakula, who he and I started down this same path more than 30 years ago. And he does way more than one action. He does something literally every week of the year. And he has an ongoing food drive at all of his events. And he's an unbelievable example of a 1 of 52 member.
Thank you, Sarah, for being here. I'm so happy, and you're gonna listen to some music from Bill Bartholomew. So stick around and listen up. But before Bill starts to play, I definitely want to mention that you have a recent album. I believe it was October it came out, or November.
Yeah, it came out in October, and it's
Yes.
called Beige, and you can find it anywhere you stream music. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, all that business.
Yep.
And psyched to say that I'm going really starting next week. This coming weekend, I'm going to begin working on another record. So which I'm really excited about. And Beige was a lot of older songs that I never recorded back in the day, and it was kind of playing catch up with some new stuff as well. It was very lo-fi, kind of home. I recorded it right here in this space, which is my podcast and music studio myself. So yeah, I'm really excited about getting on to the next one. I think that's sort of my nature, is to just keep moving forward always. And the more you do, I think it's true of anything to an extent. I mean, you can also enter into the definition of insanity if you're doing something that doesn't work. But you know, if you keep building something, generally it sustains and grows with each subsequent effort. And so that's where I'm at with my
now
my
I get
next
to
record.
listen to your the whole album, and I do have to say my favorite song was Shadows. That was spectacular.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That was my favorite.
And part of the show too is to give back to the musicians who give to
Right.
us. And we want to promote your products, and we ask anybody tuning in to this show or the subsequent replays to please seek these artists out and
Absolutely.
purchase their material and support their shows, and that in turn helps support us. So
yeah, so you
constant upward cycle.
You gotta look up Bill Bartholomew on Spotify. Follow him on Facebook. I believe you have a YouTube as well.
All the stuff, TikTok,
Right.
Instagram, Twitter, you name it.
Exactly.
And then
So look him up. Look, his music is fantastic.
thank you.
I also watched the video Shoes with Silver Teeth.
Nice. Yep.
So I did my stalking skills on you, Bill.
Excellent.
And checked out everything. Like, I know that you were on Song Talk Radio with Phil Emery. So I did my homework. And I have to say that I was impressed with all of the things that you're in.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, Silver Teeth is a band that I'm in with. We've been on hiatus since really 2019 with this wonderful artist, Gabriella Rossi, who is an excellent singer, songwriter, musician, painter. I'm also married to her, but we are.
That helps the collaboration, right?
I would, if anyone ever asked me, should you be in a creative project with somebody in your family or spouse, I would say definitely not. And I think we've both been much more, I think more excited about art since we stopped working together, and we've supported each other probably better. But at the same time, Silver Teeth was, commercially my most successful band. We toured all throughout the United States. We toured in Brazil, and so there was something magical about us playing together as well. So I have a feeling we're going to be doing it again once we kind of get some of these solo projects out.
That's fantastic. Okay, so Bill, let us not stop you from playing.
I'll play a song here. just so happens. And what I hoped it would be was free, served on a wicked note. I never dropped it off so long, like shadows in the garden, waiting for your words in each and every heart, waiting for your words in each and every heart. And as I pass below the glow, something told me I was home. I never wanted to be more free of my standard shape and body, waiting for your words in each and every heart. Down for the count. And if my timing with you was true, never gonna let it slide. I never had a love so long. My shadow has a double, waiting for your words in each and every heart, waiting for your words in each and every heart, waiting for your words in each and every heart.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Absolutely amazing.
That's
Appreciate
great.
that.
Bill, what's that from?
That's actually Shadows. That
Yeah.
is off of Beige, and
Yeah.
it's one of those
love it.
older songs. I wrote it. Geez, it was probably 2015, and I had this situation where I needed some gear because we were just starting Silver Teeth, and I needed new amp, new electric guitar, new pedals, all this equipment, and it was going to cost a lot of money. And I was at the time in New York, living in extreme poverty. I was squatting. I was paying for things with quarters. That whole thing, the true. Just like really struggling financially, but really thriving artistically. But I knew I needed to get some equipment for this tour, so I got a job at Guitar Center in Brooklyn, and worked there like 3 or 4 days a week or something like that. And they had a great deal where if you worked at Guitar Center, they paid you like garbage. I mean, you basically made minimum wage or whatever. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but you got to buy music equipment at cost. So I set a goal. I was like, I'm going to work at Guitar Center for 3 months. I'm going to save every penny of that. And then on the last day, I'm going to go in and just, tenure my resignation and then buy all this equipment. So I went in and using my employee discount and the money I made during that period of working that job on top of a million other side hustles I was doing, I bought all that gear. I went straight home and set it all up, and then just bam. That's how songwriting really is for me. It really just kind of happens in one magical moment. And I set all this stuff up, and then bam, I wrote Shadows right there. And I was like, I like that song. And now here we are, close to a decade later, 8 years later, finally released it. And we play it live most shows, and it's just funny. But it also speaks to, I really believe I see a lot of people. I know a lot of people struggle. I really do. And I think you have to ask yourself, because there's so many people who are struggling. And when we talk about hunger, are you in a situation where you can help yourself too? Are you in a situation where you can lift yourself up? If the answer is no, no shame in that. We're here for you. If the answer is yes,
Right.
You're also part of the problem contributing to broader hunger or broader poverty or broader issues. Because if you are capable of getting out there and getting a second job, of finding a side hustle, of thinking creatively, if you're capable of that physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, time-wise, if you can, I think that you should. And some people would say, oh, that's kind of a, judgmental way of looking. I think there are a lot of people who bog down our hunger need distribution system that don't step up to take care of themselves. And you have to ask yourself that question, I think. And I really believe that a lot of people, one of the challenges to solving hunger in this state is for a lot of people to say, how can I help myself? And there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in leaning on your fellow humans.
Right.
But think about that question too. Are you capable of resolving some of your issues? And if you are, then that opens up space, time, treasure, talent for someone who really and truly can't. I think we have to start asking those hard, uncomfortable questions.
Great thoughts.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of people that really don't even know how they can help. And there's a lot of people that are getting the help that they need, and they would actually be willing to help others as well, and they just don't know how. And I think there's a lot of miscommunication along with all this, the red tape that goes along with everything. And it's just a lot of things that just bogs down the system. And we need to try to clear that away. And that's one of the reasons why we're here.
I was going to say that's why direct action is so important with one in 52 and organizations like that, because direct action is, hey, look, we're doing this. This isn't some bloated nonprofit that has 4 or 5 different layers of bureaucracy with ergonomic desks and standing desks and high-speed internet and nice conference rooms and logo polo shirts in every color. We need that. There are organizations that actually achieve a lot by being a sophisticated, well-presented group. But there's also people who clog up the system, I think, pat themselves on the back when pay themselves a high salary. And you wonder, geez, are you really doing as much as somebody who's taking direct action like this show is right here? This is not, this is just a way to say, hey, there's an issue and we want to connect you with the people who can actually solve it.
That's great. And one thing that we pride ourselves in is sometimes people just don't know what to do, as Ron said, and we help to provide a plan. This is something that you can really wrap your mind around. It's very simple. It's we came up with this concept of the 1 of 52 Hunger Network. Each people representing each week of the year, all taking action, and it's a mass action and it's ongoing. The cause of ending hunger in music obviously go way back to the Bangladesh concerts by Rabbi Shankar and George Harrison, and all the way up through the years with Live Aid 1 and 2, We Are the World, all the great work Harry Chapin did, Band Aid, And I'm a dreamer, but I knew realistically I'd probably never get to that level of staging a concert of that magnitude. And really, why would I want to? It's already been done, and it's already been done so well. So I started thinking, well, how can we accomplish this on a much more grassroots level where multiple people can be involved with mass action? And that's the key because hunger, as I say, is eminently solvable, especially in America. And really, it comes down to creating the political will. And that's the political will of the people to say, look, we're not going to tolerate hunger within our borders. And by all these artists and all these people using their talents to take action, it helps set that example to help create the political will, especially when you see it extend out into the fan base of the artists. Because all those folks who get on board with this concept can say, look what my favorite musician's doing, or my favorite artist is doing. How can I be involved? And one of the things that they do, even though this is not about politics, and when I say the political will of the people, you go out and you vote for the people that are like-minded and put those people into office who you believe are going to help you in your cause of not tolerating hunger in America anymore. So once again, kind of a total upward cycle. And that's what's exciting about this campaign.
Yeah, I completely agree. I look forward to, I have some ideas and I'm, some of the stuff we're still working on behind the scenes as to how I want to deploy the week that I'm going to do this year. But certainly, to be I can give away this, at minimum, it's going to be, in my idea is a multifaceted approach that involves podcast, radio, live music, and really, like you said, just harnessing people and engaging the political class here in Rhode Island to say, hey, let's put this in the spotlight for a second even. And unfortunately, a lot of things that end up on the 6 o'clock news or in the Projo or Boston Globe or on WPRO, things like that, end up being stories that are highly immediate. Oh, the homeless crisis has spilled into disaster mode. There's, we've got an enormous rate hike in terms of electricity, whatever the issue of the moment is. Obviously terrible things like gun violence. And
right.
Hunger is always there. It's just as prevalent. In fact, it's probably more prevalent on a day in day out basis than any of those issues. But it doesn't get the attention it deserves on a media basis. So we need to change that, and we can. And I think it's, like you said, getting everybody on board. Can you do it 52 weeks of the year? Probably not. Can you do it several weeks of the year? Definitely. So that's
do
where
at
it
least
comes
one.
at least one.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
And
That's my commitment.
I love your train of thought there, Bill, and your planning of doing like a multimedia, venue type event, and that's great. And the beauty of it is anybody can start where they are and take action with whatever they do. And even yourself, since this is an annual event, you can start anywhere. And like I say, I love your thought of doing multimedia, and then build upon it over the years. One of the things I'm doing with some of the organizations that I'm like my sister organization called Hunger Down, and that's an organization that is working on a concept of really donating anytime, anywhere. Yes, at the venues, yes, at the music venues, but even places like you wouldn't think of it, like City Hall. And sometimes there's food drives at your place of work, which is great. Let's just expand upon that concept. So basically, you have a donation box set up all the time. And anytime you have a little bit of extra, you drop it in the box. The people at that place, the venue or the place of work, get it to the food bank. So we're all taking action on an ongoing grassroots level. And that's a key thing. Rather than blockbuster events, which is all well and good. I've never deter anybody from doing a blockbuster event because they certainly raise mega money, but we need something much more ongoing and something much more grassroots, and that's what we're accomplishing here.
I couldn't agree more. And I think there's this is just one example, but there's things that, I was in New York for a decade, and a lot of the time I was there, I was working in a lot of I worked for a temp agency. So I'd go in 3 months here, 9 months here while someone was on maternity leave, this, that, and the other, mostly finance and hedge funds and PR, things like that. So these big firms, and they would oftentimes have for conferences, for meetings that they would take place, or in some cases, the entirety of the organization would have a lunch that was brought in, and it would be catered, sandwiches, soups, drinks, tons of food would come into this building every single day, and an enormous amount of waste. And when I say waste, I don't mean what's left on plates. It's such a factor. And I'm talking about entire plates of sandwiches that still have cellophane on them that haven't been opened, and entire extra foil covered, if it was a Mexican day, ingredients for burritos. And we were not allowed to donate those to any organizations because of regulations. And I think those regulations are very important because food can spoil, and that you don't want to bring people spoiled food. At the same time, some of us would use common sense and say, okay, you know what? We've got a plate of sandwiches here that was delivered 2 hours ago. It's going to get thrown out. Let's take them downstairs, and there's going to be somebody who wants these. So there's ways to think creatively, and I know that requires a lot of effort, and there are health factors that need to be considered, but that's just one example that brings to mind. There probably are regulations and laws that can be adjusted inside the state house.
I've got some news about that when you finish your thought.
Oh, please. No, that's the thought, is how can we use our General Assembly to think creatively about where there's already food that's going to waste, and put it to use.
Here's a news flash for you, and you're right on the money with the waste, because we literally waste 40% of the food in this country. If we were to just get that one factor under control, we'd be well on our way to food security. Now, when Bill Clinton was in office, he created a law called the Good Samaritan Law. Very few people know about this, but it takes away the liability. And in the law, it states that if you're giving this food with all due diligence, or in the sense of the right intentions, you cannot be held liable if anything, God forbid, happens with it. If somebody gets food poisoning or something, you tried, you did it in good faith, and there is a law that Bill Clinton created called the Good Samaritan Law. So that's, and everybody can feel good about donating and knowing that they're not going to be held liable for it. Because I've heard that story over and over again. Dunkin' Donuts are throwing away all this food. Oh, we can't give it away because we'd be liable. Not true.
Right, and I'll even bring up something off of a sitcom. That law was a whole episode of Seinfeld. If you remember why it ended, the show ended going to jail because of that Good Samaritan law, because they just sat there and watched somebody, And also in that show, there were, like the top of the muffin episode.
That's right. It all comes back to a Seinfeld, doesn't it?
Exactly. That is the solution.
It's real. Like they want to donate, and the food bank, that place was upset, that they didn't get the tops of the muffins.
That's right.
Right, but when you think about this, all those muffins that they're throwing away at those donut shops, or chicken, and all these fast food restaurants, yes, it's fast food, but it still feeds somebody. And
Correct.
they're also probably throwing away salads.
Sure.
They're throwing away, grilled chicken, grilled items that is all going to waste, and that should be accounted for.
And that's
I
one
think
of the
that's
things
one
we're
of the
doing with
things.
this Hunger Network, is to create the awareness, create the political will, and really getting people on board with a plan.
Right.
So our future plans create a further, we call ourselves a network, but we want to really create a convening of all the social agencies. That's one thing that my friend Dave Goldstein does with his organization, Hunger Down, and his sister organization called Ripulse, is to create a method of us all to be on the same page and all working in the same direction. And that's a very powerful thing. So I do feel the change is coming. I feel there's a paradigm shift. And Ron and Bill, what you guys are doing with us today is part of that story. Because we have over 30 years of this network taking action. always making progress, always building, always creating momentum. But one thing that was really missing was a lot of awareness. So this is going to help us to create a lot of awareness and bring a lot more people into the fold. So thank you all for making this happen.
All right, so
A
Bill,
real-
can we get you to sing another song?
Certainly. Let me see here. Eisenhower must have been a dreamer to think that I could have cared. Racing around in my automobile, barely aware. I get up each morning, count my blessings to keep the bad news away. Start up and down in the same circles now and always. There at the bottom, the side of me that no one ever wants to share. All the reminders, the silence is what makes the man. Truman must have bit his tongue and pondered one day before he gave the word to block out the sun in the land of the rising sun. Forward. There at the bottom, the side of history no one ever wants to share. All the reminders, the silence is what makes the man. Eisenhower must have been a dreamer. There at the bottom, the side of me that no one ever wants to share. All the reminders, the silence is what makes the man. The silence is what makes the man.
Awesome.
Nice.
That was great.
Beautiful.
That was great. Look, Bill, I mean, look, you've been doing this for how long now?
Oh, geez. I mean, I've been podcasting since 2018. I started my first band. We started in 2001. That was a band called Acid Rain Revival that I was in until 2006, and then on and off in different, either as a solo artist or with different configurations. Really full speed ahead. I recorded my first proper release in 2008, and it's been an up and down journey. You know, music is a really weird and punishing business in that sense, because you can go from, you know, 1 week you got a great review in a national magazine, you're playing all these great shows, people are coming out, and then, you know, fast forward a year later and now you're just continuously trying to keep at the same level as an independent artist. So it's a battle, but the one thing that's always been consistent is that I love the exterior work that goes with it, and things like this one of 52 are just exactly that. the life itself is filled with meaning. A lot of people who care about things that seem to me anyway to be incredibly important issues
Right.
wise, and just sort of philosophically. So I'm still learning. I go through the questions of should I still be making an effort on music, and I always come back to no, we're doing it. I have a monthly series here at my loft space called Elmwood Songwriters Club, which I'm sure
Mhm.
will be a part of our 1 of 52 week. I play all the time in Providence, New York, still all throughout the region, and it's growing. And I'm just really glad that I'm able to connect with people like each of you, because that's where my heart is. Other than the creative side, equally is I don't want to say activist side, but causation side. How about that? We'll bring it all back home.
There we go. There we go.
Perfect.
Now, you just had the Elmwood Songwriters Club meet February 11th, which was just this past weekend.
Yeah, Saturday night. Yep.
When is the next one?
March 11th is the next one. That's also a Saturday night, and it's a really cool event that it kind of spawns from. I was able to be a part of some really cool open mics in New York. That particularly this one called the Potion Cafe Open Mic, and it basically was a variety show. It wasn't your typical open mic. It was much more of like the same characters plus people traveling, and just this mixed sort of variety show every week. And so that concept of, you play one or two songs only is what fueled this Elmwood Songwriters Club concept. Before the pandemic, we began it. It sort of grew, and then COVID hit. It killed it off. Now we're rebuilding it. We started it back up again, and I book 6 to 8 different artists, singer songwriters mostly, sometimes some more hip hop or experimental artists, and everybody. I write everyone's name down on a piece of paper and draw it from a hat. And so the order is completely random. Everybody performs 2 songs. We always get a great crowd, a really nice variety of people every time. And it's free to get in, and it's just a great hang, and you get to see 8 artists, but rapidly. You don't
Right.
sit 2 songs next, and it's a fun event. I would highly, if you're looking for somewhere to go, we start at 8. We're always done by 10 at the latest, and then it's just a really nice community group that is continuously growing. And I'm always mixing up the performers, and most people who ever perform come back to watch even when they're not performing. So something I'm really proud of. And like I said, with the 1 of 52 operation, I think it's going to be a really big part of what I have envisioned for this year as I roll things out.
Great, fantastic. Look, I got a bunch of questions to ask, but got to take care of some business side of the things. I want to let people know who we are, what we're doing, and everything. In case you just joined us, you are watching Music Causation with myself, Ron, and Steve, and we are with special guest Bill Bartholomew, singer, songwriter, podcast host, and we are talking about 1 of 52 hunger and trying to end hunger not only in this community but as far as we can reach. We've had some people, including Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us all the way from Philippines. And you are watching us on Twitch at RI_broadcasting. You are watching us on YouTube at Rhode Island Broadcasting. Also, Twitter at Broadcasting RI. And of course, on Facebook at Rhode Island Broadcasting as well. And it's certainly blowing my mind as well. Steve, I know you have the CD of and the brochure and more information. I want to give everybody some information out there for us.
We're going to be talking a lot about this in future shows. This is a CD that we produced in 2000 that just has some amazing local and national artists on it. And it's only reached its infancy. We did a basic, very little distribution on it, just because, quite frankly, we needed the type of media that we're getting today. So we have it available. It's up and running on the website, on Facebook. Just go on Facebook and search The Time Is Now to End Hunger, the hunger benefit compilation. And what we're going to do is you can basically listen to the tracks for free, pretty much like we're doing today, with Bill donating his talent. And you can donate to your cause, whatever your cause is. If you choose to donate to the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, great. But the beauty of the campaign is you can donate any way you want. The Time Is Now is going to be something that you'll be hearing a lot more about. And we're going to be featuring some of the artists off of the CD in our upcoming shows.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's get everybody back on screen there. Again, I am Ron, Steve, and of course we have Bill Bartholomew. So Bill, one of the questions I wanted to know is, and I'm sure, most interviews with musicians, everybody's going to ask kind of the same general questions. But I really want to know what your musical influences were. That is because that's what makes an artist.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, it's a very important question. For me, it's a lot of different things. It probably started with Sesame Street, realistically, and sort of like PBS, and sort of the melodies and the characters there. From there, probably, I kind of had my parental permission to move around the dial on local radio. So I started listening to like 93.3 WSNE, now Coast, and, a lot of like the dentist room waiting area music. But some of those melodies were really important. And I think growing up in the mid to late 90s was huge as well, because the WBRU 92 Pro FM, even that music, the creativity and the different types of songs that were coming out at that point in time were really inspiring and stuck with me. I guess some people would call it the alternative era. I think that's probably pretty accurate. I then kind of got into classic rock, and the number one artist for me would definitely be Neil Young, for sure, in terms of a singer-songwriter, and just the variety of projects he's done, whether it's his solo work. He's got a lot of country work. He's got grunge work. He does Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, or he did, I should say, R.I.P. David Crosby. But, he's consistently himself. Some of his records are terrible. Some of them are all-time greats. And he put out so much music that he just kept going and going and going. And I'm deeply inspired by that. The usual suspects, your Bob Dylan, Beatles, all of that is definitely in there. And what I love, indie rock, independent music that came out of Brooklyn. That was especially Brooklyn, but anywhere really in the mid 2000s, that was a huge thing that was happening. That's greatly influential to me, and even the 2010s. And then my peers, the people I'm around, the musicians here in Rhode Island and New York, people that I share stages with, greatly influenced me. And take that along with, growing up in the woods by myself, and then dropping that person into the heart of the Brooklyn arts community, and watching those two worlds collide in my brain, add a little Noam Chomsky and, things like that. And you've got kind of, and talk radio and all of that. And talk radio influences my music a lot too, both topics and delivery. And then it kind of always has. So I think all of those things combined, maybe none of them are reflected in my music, but I think all of them are part of that recipe of where I've gotten to right now in terms of my creative output.
Nice. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Bill.
Uh-oh.
Okay, this is gonna be a tough one.
Here we go.
What is your favorite local venue to play at?
Really tough question. I would say, I can honestly say,
and it could be past or present.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Past or present. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm going to give a shout out right now, because we're coming up on, shockingly, the 20th anniversary of one of the darkest days ever in Rhode Island, and that was the Station nightclub fire.
Oh, yes.
And shockingly, we are coming up on the 20th anniversary. The station was for me a fundamental place. I performed there dozens of times as a high school kid, and even in my early time at URI, and built a lot of special relationships there, and learned how a stage works, what a backstage, what a green room is, how to work a monitor, do a sound check, lights, everything about fundamentals of performing came from that place for me, along with the living room, which was another key old venue. So I have to, in both of which have tragedy associated with them, which is terrible, but that's just the reality. And so I think it's really important to always think of the station,
Right.
the lives that were lost there, everything that happened there, and then also the place itself. I think actually deserves some retrospective attention. I think today there's a lot of great venues. Um, Music has changed a lot, but there's still places that have really good turnouts. Newport doesn't have anywhere anymore, unfortunately, other than the folk festival. But there's a great place called the Pump House in South Kingstown that's very
Yep.
close to where I grew up. I love there. I love Askew and Dusk in Providence, the Columbus Theater in Providence. And I really love playing in my loft. I know it's easy to sort of self-congratulatory, but I just love those spaces that are really raw.
Right.
We just have this 3,000 square foot space with art all over the walls, and there's no bar, there's no profit, there's no money exchanged in any way, shape, or form. It's literally just a place that you come and hear music. So I'd say all of those places. The Galactic Theater in Warren is also a really amazing
Right.
venue as well. So they all are kind of an ecosystem, as we were using that word earlier, but I think that's really the fairest way to describe it.
Yeah, there's definitely places all over the place. And I know I've been around for a long time. And I remember places that friends, bands that played JR's Fast Lane.
Oh
You
yeah, of course.
know,
I played there once.
um,
Yep.
I've been to like the Mishnot Barn, and all over the place. What is the Windjammer and um,
Musqueam.
yeah,
And it's funny, just about every place that you've mentioned, we've done one of 52 gigs at over the years,
see,
like without fail. The only place really maybe would be your loft, Bill, but I got a feeling that's going to change.
It's
that would be
it's probably
fantastic.
true.
Now I got one more question for you. This
Yes.
might also be a difficult one, but what is the one song of yours that you wish everyone would hear?
Hmm. Wow. Tough to say. I mean, the one thing I get a lot is a lot of different people give me different. They have a favorite song that it's not consistent, and I think that's a good thing because it shows that it's not like, all right, I had one song that was
Right.
decent. But I'd say the signature song for me right now still remains "Treasure Map." That's a song that's on Spotify. It was in a couple of films. It's been on Showtime networks. It's been used. I've gotten messages from people all over the world, Italy, Brazil, that's been used as wedding songs, things like that.
Cool.
And I would say that song is another one. I wrote it in 2004. I was playing it in 2010, and this producer Kahan James heard it in New York, and he said, "Hey, let's record that song." We recorded it. 5 years later, it got its first sync, which is a song placement in film. Someone heard it in that film, called me and said, "Hey, is that song exclusively licensed to that other film?" I said no. So it ended up there, and then it was on Showtime. So it's a long haul. Here we are, 2023, 20 years later, that song's still growing, but it wasn't until 11 years after it was written that the song had any kind of major noteworthy success. So I think it's a testament there. And I also just think that it shows a real transition in my life when I was going from being in Rhode Island to making kind of the decision of like, I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to try to pursue a creative life as best as I can.
See, that's another reason, why we're doing this as well, because there's a lot of music out there that nobody has heard, and frankly should hear. And now I kind of pride myself on having a very diverse, like for almost every genre. I can literally listen to almost anything, and and I think people need to do more exploring in music. You know, don't just listen to, you know, what you listen to. Try something different and just explore music. You know, hey, if you want to do a search, just search a word and then play one of those songs that come up that you've never heard, or even the band that you never heard from. You know,
I
and
agree.
I
Yep.
think if you do that, you're expanding your horizons, and you never know what you're going to like until you hear it. And I think I do that pretty well. You know, I if I don't know what I want to listen to, I'll just type in something and see what comes up, and
Do
then
some
I'll play some
exploring.
new
That's
songs.
great. And this is going to be a straight up local music show, all for the cause. Primarily local musicians with original music. But part of the concept I had originally for this was something I call fallow music. And this is music that sits fallow out there. Some great music that is either gone by the wayside or is just not getting attention anymore. And I think over the years, when we do this show, we can have kind of a throwback to these songs that need to be brought to the forefront. And certainly, Time Is Now has a lot of great tunes on there that fall into that category.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly endless amount of music that we can get involved, and I'm just looking forward to this journey. See wherever it takes us. I mean, it's going to be never ending as far as I'm concerned until I go.
Yeah. Let's keep it rolling. Thank you for creating this debut show with us, Bill. This was very significant for me. I know, we started communicating a couple of months back, and you said, "Yeah, want to be involved," and here we are today.
And congratulations on the launch. I think it's going to be very successful as a standalone operation, but also as a vehicle for all of the great work that you guys each are involved in. And I look forward to much more ahead.
Great. We like
Thank
that.
you
We want
so
to
much.
have you back again too. We'll try to rotate and be as fair as possible, get as many artists as possible on. But we look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, Bill. Take care.
Okay. Take care.
So that was Bill Bartholomew. This was really enjoyable.
He's an amazing artist. And,
Yes.
Quite a personality too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to check out, Bartholomew Town.
Yes.
That's his podcast. I believe that's the name of the
I
podcast.
believe it is. Yeah.
He's had an article in Motif. Like I said earlier, Song Talk Radio he was on about songwriting with Phil Emery, part of the band Silver Teeth. So he's been in a lot of things. He's got his Elmwood Songwriters Club. March 11th is the next date on that. So be looking for that. You can find all his information on Facebook. He has a YouTube channel. He has Spotify. Wherever you need to look, just check it out. By all means, support the artists. If you're an artist out there that wants to join us on the show, please, by all means, send us an email at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We'll be more than happy to get you on the show and be part of what we're trying to accomplish with, the 1 of 52 Hunger Network. And of course, don't forget to donate to the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. So important, whether it's financially or time. As we discussed this earlier, time is always needed. And I want to thank those fans that have been watching us. We've had
This is great.
several
I'm
fans,
so excited about people coming on board. And we'll certainly keep it and get more audience.
Right, as we continue, and next week we're going to be doing this at noontime again. So we have.
I need to check something too. I don't have the artists that'll be joining us next week. I will have them lined up as we go forward, so we always know to promote them ahead of time. But future shows coming up. They're not next week, But Eddie McGurl will be with us in March. Eddie has a song on the Time Is Now CD. We're going to be having Mark Cutler, who's a very active 1 of 52 member.
Right.
And I believe I have Papa Angelo. Angelo's going to be coming on with us in the very near future, I hope.
Spectacular.
I just sent him a message today. So if you're listening out there, Angelo, get back to me. And one note on that is, for now, all original music, please, for anybody who's going to submit, to be considered for the show.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not really
Has to be
set
original.
up for covers at this time,
Right.
copyright infringements and all that good stuff.
Right.
But all original music. You don't have to be a member of the 1 of 52 Hunger Network to be a participant. All we ask is that it be all original music. And of course, we do hope you'll join as a member once you learn about it, because once again, there's no fees or dues to belong.
Nope.
All we look for is a minimum of 1 action in 1 week annually, and everybody can do that, and it's a very easy thing to do. And if you're already taking action, you can simply add your actions into the network. So we're kind of organizing on those 2 levels,
Right.
Bringing in people who want to take action, maybe never knew what to do before or never saw a plan. So we're providing that aspect of it. And if you're already taking action, you can simply join us and add greater strength and numbers to our network.
Absolutely. You know, it's just a simple, if you're an artist just coming on the show, that, believe it or not, that helps. That helps. And Bill donated his time today.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he gave the hour plus, you know, for you know, the entertaining part of it
The
today,
causation.
and talking about the problem that, you know, people face and his opinions. And he went through as a young artist.
Yeah, he was very kind in sharing his experiences with us. And I love that, you know, because it's a personal story, brings it right down to that very guttural level of how
Right.
we all experience our own issues and how we can help others with theirs.
Absolutely. So please, by all means, like I said, donate to the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, justgiving.com/fundraising /Stephen-Maciel, which is here with me. And we're going to be doing this every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Keep that in mind, because I know Sarah, who joined us from the Philippines, thank you so much for being here. And there's been others that have joined us, haven't left any comments or anything, but, you know, feel free to speak about your area, wherever you're watching from. Throw it in the comments. We will mention it. We'll get you part of the show. And, you know, so that's what we're hoping for. Remember, every Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch us on Rhode Island Broadcasting at YouTube and Facebook, Broadcasting RI on Twitter, and of course, RI_broadcasting on Twitch live. And you can see this video forever. Bill will be on this show forever in episode 1, you know, and just please, by all means, check it out, share it, really share it, because it is important that people get this out there, and so we can end this hunger thing.
For sure. Visit our website at 1of52.net. Search us out on Facebook. And thank you very much. Thank you, Ron, for having me.
No problem.
Looking forward
No
to
problem.
many shows.
We'll be looking for everybody out there next Monday. Please share the video, get this out there, so that way we can get everybody involved. Have a good week. We'll see you next time.